Oh,
All five. All five right here.
got three.
One enemy remaining.
Oh, one more long.
What is up YouTube, it's Dr. Zor helping cure you from being a noob. Rank play is finally out and I know you guys are on the grind and want to get the highest rank possible. Well, guess what? You came to the right video. I'm going to give you guys the biggest tips you need to win as many games as you can so you can take that Valorant rank, baby. Some of these tips may sound simple, but we delve deeper and deeper with each tip, and trust me, if you really want to put some effort into actually implementing these tips as you should, you'll start to see a drastic improvement in your play, but also your team's play, whether you're playing with pubs or playing with your friends. So make sure to take a look at all of these tips and really use them. If this video helps you out, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and comment down below on what your current rank is. Let's get into it.
Die line with the boom pow. Every week now I switch to a new style. 212s in the back just blew out. Everything I do end up in a new style. Yeah, lead a club with a few now.
Tip number one, you need to play default. This term is very vague, but essentially you want to make sure that you're split up at the beginning of the round or mid-round after getting a pick. This is pretty standard as a defender, making sure that people are on each site, but you also want to do this as an attacker. This allows you to get information on where the enemies are on each site, but also prevents the enemy from pushing one site and flanking you because you stack your whole team on the other side of the map. The enemy gets intel that you're not on B site, so then they stack more players on A. It's hard for you to take the site now because more players are there, plus you have enemy players that are getting behind you and you get pinched. I would always suggest playing default, at least at the start of the round, see if anyone pushes, see if you can get a pick without pushing too far, and then regroup later based on the information that you gather. This can also help with future rounds as you get information on the enemy's habits. For example, if you start realizing that someone likes to push showers on bind every round, you can start the next round by stacking more players there, overwhelming that player on showers, and then you can start to push hard onto the site before they can rotate, or go back to default to make sure that you don't get flanked and gather even more intel to determine which site is the safest to try to take. Tip number two, make sure you're communicating. I know many of you guys have microphones and choose not to use them, and please, if you have it, use it. Information is so important to this game, and if you're expecting to get a high ranking without saying a word, boy, you're in for a surprise, my friend. Make sure you communicate as much information to your team as you can. If you're gonna do something, let your team know. Hey guys, I'm gonna push A long and I'm gonna try to get a pick and get some information. If you wanna make a simple play, a simple call like, hey guys, let's push together A, or hey, let's do a split into A. Something as simple as that. You wanna make sure that your comms are short and to the point so that it's easier to understand. I think some people feel like if they talk fast and long, then they have some kind of crazy methodical plan, when all they really meant was, hey, let's play default, look for picks, and then I'm gonna smoke off B, and then we push onto the site. Something short, sweet, and to the point will make it easier for your team to understand you. Everyone's on the same page, and you'll find that your team play is a lot better. Remember, this is a team game. If you're not communicating, you're basically playing on your own. And I know some of you guys actually don't have a microphone, but there's other options. You can use the ping system, ping where you hear someone on the map, or even use the team chat. We had a guy over here that just didn't have a mic, it seemed, and he was typing like crazy. You know, it's harder for us to kind of look at the team chat when we're playing a game, but it's better than nothing. Maybe one time we might have an eye that just peeks down on the bottom left, and that gives us the information we need, and we push on the site and we win the round. Tip number three, this goes along with communication, but it's probably one of the most important tips here. Have a plan or strategy for everything that you do. There are so many times that teams just don't have a plan for the round. They just play for themselves, they try to get a pick on their own, and they end up getting eliminated for free, leaving you with one less player to defend the site or take the site with. No one's talking, you don't have any additional information, you're just screwed. Have a plan for everything that you do. Seriously, ask yourself during a round, what am I doing here? And what is the team doing here? If you say, oh gee, Dr. Zor, I have no idea what I'm doing, this is a problem, buddy. You need to know what you're doing. Are you going to try to grab a pick? Are you trying to group up with your team so you can execute onto a site? Is your team about to push, and are you aware of your role during the push? Is the team setting the abilities together? These are just some examples, but make sure that you never go into a round asking yourself, what are we doing here? Have a plan and also communicate to your team. Regardless if the plan is good or bad, a plan is better than no plan. More simple examples, on defender side, this may be to just play the default setup on each site and hold. Maybe that's not working, okay, let's try to do an aggressive push next round and try to get some picks, get the man advantage, and then back off into defaults. On attacker, it may be playing default, finding a pick, calling the rotate, and then do a split push onto the site while using your agent abilities to block off choke points to make it even easier to take that site. Always have a plan and a purpose for everything that you do. Tip number 4, this is a big one, boys. Adapt. Every round you play, you want to make sure that you're thinking about how you won the round or how you lost the round, and make adjustments so that the next round will be even better than the last. If you won a round pretty fairly, cool, nothing needs to be changed, do the same thing and try to see if it works again. If you won a round but it was kind of close, we lost the bomb site, but luckily we were able to clutch it out, try adding another player there so I can better defend that site, and now they don't even get a chance to touch it because this new setup is so good and you just send them to the shadow realm. Another example of adapting is simply switching player positions. Maybe you started off playing pretty close to a choke point and end up getting overwhelmed. Okay, maybe I should play further back next time, or call for a teammate to be there with me so we can set up a crossfire and eliminate him off. If something's consistently not working and you guys are playing the same positions over and over and over and getting eliminated over and over, change it. Think about the agents you have as well. Like, hey, I'm playing Sova alone on A, I'm grabbing intel, but I don't have any utility to stop a push if it actually comes. Alright, maybe you can add Sage or Brimstone over with the Sova. Or hey, maybe Sova's better off playing C as he can grab that long range intel, the choke point is smaller so he can delay simply with his shock darts and grab information easily with his other abilities. Keep things simple, especially again if you're playing with random players. Simplicity is the key. One final example is keeping the positions but switching who's playing on there. If you're playing a site by yourself and someone else is actually doing pretty well individually and you're doing meh, you're not really comfortable with your spot, ask that guy or anyone else on the team if they want to switch. Having the right positions is important, but having the right players in those positions is equally important. Tip number 5. Alright, we're gonna get into the nitty gritty things, and I'm gonna be upfront with this one. Do not be afraid of getting eliminated. This may sound silly at first, but I can't tell you the amount of times I've made a call to go into a site, I'm deep in, used all my abilities, grabbed a couple frags, and then end up dying after and giving all this information from my team, only to look back and find that they didn't even push with me, they didn't even use any abilities to help me, and after I give them all the intel that I could, they still don't push in, and instead they continue to wait. They allow the enemy team to change their positions, rotate. Suddenly all the information I gathered is now useless because they weren't willing to go in with me. I know most people don't like to be the entry fragger, which is the first man in who grabs all the information for the team, but also because of that, they're the most likely to get eliminated in the process. But someone has to do it, and especially if someone else is willing to play that role and get that information for you, you gotta make sure that you go in as well so that their efforts aren't in vain. I see a lot of new players that are so afraid of getting eliminated. If you're afraid, you're gonna play much worse. Your aim's gonna be off, your movement is gonna be off, your decision making is gonna be off, and you're essentially gonna look like a baiter, and a bad one at that. As your teammates go in, they get you everything you need to maximize their success and your success, and you let them down and aren't even willing to trade the kill and keep the advantage that they gave you. Be that guy that goes in first if your team isn't willing to do so, or if not and you're uncomfortable doing that, be that guy that goes in with the entry fragger, goes in with the team, and gets those eliminations individually or together, and get the information that you need for your team to be successful. If you're afraid, you end up not going in, you don't grab that information, you don't get any eliminations, and at the end of the day, you probably ended up getting eliminated at the end of the round anyway. So get in there, no fear. With a plan though, don't just walk in there like a monkey trying to throw bananas and hoping the enemy slips on them. Tip number 6, this is another big one and goes right along with tip number 5. Do not bait, or if you do it in a smart way that's appropriate for the situation. Again, with the fear factor we just mentioned, this causes players to never go in first, resulting in one teammate, maybe 2, maybe 3, heck maybe even 4 people going in and getting eliminated before you finally decide to push in yourself. Sometimes this may look okay, maybe you pick off a few of the enemies after your teammates have damaged them, maybe you even get some multi kills and clutch up the round. This is an unlikely scenario, but it does happen. The issue though is that little hesitation that these players tend to do. They don't end up going together with the team to gather information and eliminations and end up waiting until everyone else has been eliminated. You got the intel from your team and then you go in to pick up the scraps and looking like you're a decent player. You may actually get a pretty good kill death ratio off of this, but you'll infuriate your team because you waited for them to get eliminated so that you can position yourself and key point only yourself to be primed to get the frags, versus if you went in with the team, maybe you guys would have just overwhelmed the site even more. You get the spike down, you use your abilities to block off everyone else, and hey, you win the round as a team rather than trying to make a flashy individual play by baiting your team out. And let's be honest, they're usually not that flashy. One more point here though is that there are times that baiting can be okay, and sometimes you actually want to be the one that gets baited. For example, if the economy is weird, one player has a pistol while the other has an operator that they saved from the previous round, it wouldn't be the best idea for the operator player to go in first to try to grab that information. Instead, the pistol player should be the one that says, hey, I'm going to go in first and grab that information so that you can shine with your operator. Another example is to say you have two players with the same equipment, same weapons, but one of you has been damaged to 20 HP. You have no information on the enemy position, and in this scenario, it would make sense for the low health player to go in first, grab that information, and allow the high health player to go in afterwards with that intel to frag out. Some people may hate me for saying this, but there are scenarios that baiting is okay, but if you're doing it correctly, it should look more like you're going in together and trading eliminations rather than you letting your teammate walk out first, getting eliminated while you sit and relax and then push a couple seconds later. Tip number 7, I know this one's gonna sound really dumb, but trust me boys, trust. Now if you really want to be consistent with your ranking, find some friends to play with. I know not everyone has real life friends that play Valorant, or if they do, maybe they aren't the same level as you, but if they are, play with them. And if you play with randoms and find someone that's really good and really cool, add them and try to play together. Communication, trust, and strategy are so big in this game, and if you're playing with people that do all the tips in this video properly, you'll find yourself enjoying the game more, playing better individually and as a team, which results in more games won and a higher ranking. One thing to note is that if you are going to add some random players, make sure that it's mutual and make sure that you actually enjoy playing with them, rather than, hey, this guy just carried the crap out of me, I want him to carry me again. Humble brag, but at the beginning of Valorant, I would get pretty high kill games and people would try to add me just because of that. They never used their microphone in the game, I didn't get to know them at all. Their sole purpose in adding me is so that I could carry them. You want things to be more friendly. Use your mic, get to know the guy a little bit, whether that just be how he plays, how he communicates, whatever, and hit him up in the game first. Hey, I think you're a really good player, could we queue up together sometime? Rather than the game ending and then you never even converse with the guy and then try to add him after that. That makes it seem more that it's a one-way trade, and you want to pick people that will improve yourself as well, not just someone that's going to carry them and you just end up not learning and getting better. Communicating with people that aren't randoms is just so much better. Even if your teammate is a smidge lower level than you, that communication and trust will more than pay off for it, versus a team that is random, getting high kills but not really talking at all and allowing his teammates to thrive. Remember, this is a team game and you want to win, yes, with some of your individual talent, but also with teamwork as well. With that being said, we're going to move on to the biggest tip. Tip number 8, this is the simplest tip but also the most important. Have fun and strive to improve. When you're playing your matches, analyze every move that you do. Was that the right play to make? Could I have played that better? How's my aim looking right now? Could use some work? Try to find your flaws and improve upon them, whether that be hitting up the aim trainer, trying to change up your tactics or positions, watching tutorials on certain aspects of the game that you need to work on. Hey, if you need some help on your aim, oh, what's this? An aim guide? Let's check that out in the description of this video. You need some ideas for strategies? Oh wow, look at all these analytical guides on the strategies, and look at this big playlist with all these tips that you can do, and they're all in the description. Jokes aside though, we got some fantastic tips in our other videos. Use them as a reference, but also adapt them to what suits your playstyle. There's always something that can be improved upon, and if you seek that improvement, you will get better. Going along with that, make sure that you're actually having fun. Some people take ranks so seriously and it hurts you mentally. Studies and books have shown that if you're trying too hard, you tense up your muscles more than they should be, and this makes it harder for you to do what you want to do. You probably don't even realize this is happening either. Really think to yourself, am I having fun? Am I relaxed? You play best when everything is in a relaxed state. Can you imagine if basketball players were tensing up their muscles for an entire basketball game and thinking through every play that they make just a second before they make it? They would be worn out before even the first quarter. A truly good player enjoys the game, they've grinded the hours, and they implement their practice into actual matches with a calm, natural state. You put in the work, now let your body do it. Don't try to tell yourself specifically what to do in game. you already practiced that. You can practice as much as you want, but if your mental state is poor, you might as well throw all that out the window because you won't be able to implement any of your practice if you're taking things too seriously and trying too hard to make your body do what you've practiced. You've already done the practice, so just tell your body what you want it to do and trust that it'll do it. This sounds really silly, but there are several studies on it. Look up anything on mental state for sports, or a book that I personally enjoy called The Inner Game of Tennis that goes into detail about this and was really a game changer for me, both for how I play video games and just for everything that I do in life. That's all I have for this video. If it helped you out, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and let me know in the comments down below what you'd like to see from me next. I know a lot of you guys are new players, so I want to get you guys prepared for what Valorant brings to the table, so let me know what's up. Do you need help with agents? Do you need tips on your aim? Leave them all in the comments down below. I'm Dr. Zora, helping cure you from being a noob, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.